If there's something to be learned, it's that there's beauty and grace in every human being. And when you walk with them on their journey forward, you can't help but feel blessed, and they give you hope.
In fits and starts, life moves forward at its own irregular pace, until one day, when the fits and the starts stop. We don't like to talk about death.
Yeah, I think not talking about death is really a hard societal construct.
Why don't we like to talk about death?
Death is hard.
The end is where we begin.
It doesn't matter whether you're living under a bridge or in a mansion on a hilltop. We will all come to this point someday.
Begin a story we spent months documenting and recording, life's inevitable conclusion.
I give you a hug. Thank you for coming along again.
If few cities know how to effectively deal with their unhoused residents when they're alive, far fewer know what to do as they approach death.
People don't choose to die in an alley or on a park bench or by themselves. And people shouldn't have to die alone.
And so this is where this man and his plan fit in.
He is a saint.
He just has a heart of gold.
A place for those without a place to call home, to pass into whatever it is that comes next.
Dying is something no one wants to talk about. And you mix those two topics together, homelessness and dying, and then people really don't want to talk about it. People think that somehow, somewhere, some way it's being taken care of, but it isn't. His journey is almost over. There is no doubt in my mind that whatever is in us that makes us who we are, who our real selves are, leaves when the body ceases.
In the midst of the unknown, we approach with caution.
Hi. What's that? No. Okay.
There's a change. It's a very definite and immediate change. Something leaves. I believe that's our soul, our spirit. It's the essence of who we are, the deepest essence of who we are.
Hi, we have some visitors. This is JP.
Hello, Jennifer.
How are you?
I'm well. Listen, I haven't met you yet, but I'm the executive director of Rocky Mountain Refuge.
Okay. JP, right?
That's what they call me, JP. Is it okay if they film me while we're talking to you?
Sure. I don't really know what to say, but yeah.
Well, we'll just have a conversation. You don't have to worry about saying anything.
Hi.
My name's Chris.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
So, do you have any spiritual needs that or cultural needs or anything that you would like that we could support you better?
No, just lots of prayers and...
One of the things that, and it's not fun to talk about, but if you should happen to pass with us, is a Christian memorial okay for you?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
I did choose to be cremated.
Okay.
I've been diagnosed with cirrhosis of the liver, that I'm no longer eligible for a liver transplant now because of the stage my body is in.
Medicine defines a terminal illness as a condition expected to result in death. Terminal, however, does not always mean imminent.
One of the things that I'm looking into is why people become homeless at this time of their life. What's your situation?
Once I got sick is when I became more or less homeless. I've been in a hotel since January. And so...
That's expensive, isn't it?
It is. And so that's where all my money went.
Jennifer's terminal illness led her here, the Denver Hospice, a facility typically meant for short-term, end-of-life care, 5 days at most. Jennifer's end of life will come soon. just not within those 5 days. And with no home to return to, she is in a very tough spot.
Doesn't change the fact that the diagnosis is what it is.
It is what it is.
And what stage it's at.
Okay, yeah, I'm aware of that.
So.
Now, I know that the medicine you just took is going to make you sleepy. So we're going to wrap this up pretty quickly.
Oh, no worries.
James Hall is here.
Oh, I told you you're the first one now on our waiting list.
To offer an alternative.
And then when a bed opens up for us, the folks here will transport you to us.
Okay.
My name is Brother James Patrick Hall. I'm a Gregorian friar. My friends on the street have given me a nickname of JP.
James J.P. Hall spent years of his life working within unhoused communities. Years. And then one year,
In 2017,
someone asked him a question.
a friend of mine was doing some chaplaincy work in a local hospital. And she went into a room. It was a dark room with beeping machines and a person just laying in bed. She looked in their chart and realized this person was homeless and they were actively dying. And so she spent the night holding his hand and praying with him as he transitioned, and he died that night. And the next day she asked me, where do homeless people die?
A simple question he struggled to answer. A question cities like Denver struggle to answer as well. And so if they don't die outside, they die inside cold hospitals and cheap hotels, places not suited for compassionate end-of-life care. That is what led to the Rocky Mountain Refuge, a 3-bed, 2-room facility within one corner of the crossing run by the Denver Rescue Mission.
Everyone deserves to die in a clean, warm bed, in comfort, if possible, someone holding their hands as they transition. We do what's called custodial care or family-style care for people experiencing homelessness or housing insecurity that have reached the end of their life and need hospice care. Hospice care in the United States is designed to be in your home with your family assisting. There isn't a facility anywhere where some nice lady takes care of you. That's just not the way it works.
Our agreement was simple. Only those who agreed with our presence and our camera, and only those capable of making that decision at the time we asked. One of the first to say yes, James.
I was having problems getting sick a lot. I didn't think much of it, you know. And all of a sudden my stomach started hurting, and I was like, it'll go away. And then there was one morning at the shelter, I couldn't even get out of bed. So they had the ambulance come pick me up, and they ran some tests on me and found out that I'm having liver failure. And it had gone so far past, they said it's not recoverable.
Hello.
Hey Jim, how you doing?
Good, I guess.
He'd spent parts of the previous winter inside a shelter run by Tim Clancy.
Oh,
Shall we sit?
Yeah, let me put this.
James had come to us, as many of our guests do, with a vehicle. And so he had been living in his vehicle. Shall we say grace?
Yes, we shall. Here, 1 second.
What are you going to do?
I'm going to give you a hug. Thank you for coming all the way down.
You bet. You bet.
I really do appreciate it.
Clancy runs the Echo Shelter in Evergreen,
Well, biscuits and gravy are good too.
a seasonal overnight shelter, a decent place for people to spend their winter nights, a not-so-decent place for people to spend their final days.
We noticed that he was in declining health, and he noticed it too. He was given the news that he did not have long to live, maybe 2, 4, 6 months. But Rocky Mountain Refuge gave him the dignity to have a place to stay. They provide the comfort care, the custodial care. We will be the home, the last home.
Done a lot of research on homelessness and whatnot, and they said, where do homeless people go to die? And it's like, well, that's a good question. Under bridges, you know, next to creek beds, those kind of things. Like I said, this place came along and it was like, wow, this is a dream come true. So I don't use much. I leave a very small footprint.
Few things about end-of-life care remain more misunderstood than hospice care.
Yeah.
Unless you're in your final hours or days and in need of immediate and skilled care, hospice care essentially requires a setting no one unhoused has.
Yeah, the nice thing is if you just can't get out of bed, they'll bring you some food too. It's really nice.
The Rocky Mountain Refuge opened Valentine's Day 2022. More than 30 residents have passed within these walls since then.
But yeah, it was like, how did this happen? Sorry. A second. I said I made mistakes, just like everybody. Nothing too horrendous, but yeah, it was just a lot of time to reflect. Nobody wants to die. It's going to happen to all of us at some point. But yeah, I was deathly afraid of that. And when I finally released everything and let it go, I've never felt better in my life, to tell you the truth. I feel so humbled and grateful for what I have and what I had.
Where are we going? Who are we going to go see?
We should probably just say Jose.
Who is Jose?
Jose is a person on our waiting list. He's about the third person on our waiting list right now. We have two ahead of him. He was in the emergency room in Denver Health, and one of the social workers at Denver Health called us, but we only have 3 beds. It's because that's all we can afford. Frankly, I have to wait for someone to die before I can have a bed available, and that's very difficult for me to say that. Now, is this? Yeah, this is the right place. Some folks tell me their stories, and they tell me things that's happened in their lives, and you get attached. You just can't help it.
When it comes to the unhoused, few words mark the lives of those who experience it more than the word precarious.
Pretty much motels. I just checked out of one.
This is the life Jose has lived.
And you were staying in a warehouse some before that.
Yeah.
Lived for years. Where next? Where now?
I was going to get an apartment, but all that started happening.
He moved to Colorado 8 years ago, held a job, earned a paycheck.
I started losing my strength.
Enough at times, not enough at others, and certainly not enough when a doctor told him,
Are you able to work at all anymore?
No, I just want to sleep all the time.
Told him his symptoms were the byproduct of cancer.
Yeah. I get like a little pain here.
You're getting a pain now?
Little one.
It's all made a life feel even more precarious for a man with no place to call home.
I'm ready for it. Face it forward, and that's it. Can't do nothing else about it. I know my Lord is there for me, and
I'm so sorry we can't take you in right now.
okay. You're a good guy. Thank you.
I just wish we had more beds.
That's okay. Not your fault.
Each and every one of the folks I'm talking to needs a place to go.
I just wish things just changed.
Yeah. I wish they were too.
Apparently you're not.
Apparently not. Jose, you sleeping pretty hard? Jose? God bless you. God keep you. May you rest in the palm of his hand. It's like a punch in the gut, it really is. People die waiting to get in. That's what happened to Jose. He died waiting to get in.
Do you hate death?
I hate what it does to people. I hate people losing people too soon. I hate people dying in pain when they don't have to. I hate what happens around it. My wife died when we were 36 years old. Her name was Grace. Married Grace Catherine, went by Grace. But we were together about 15 years. She was a nurse. She took care of people. And then about 10 years later, my younger brother, my closest family member, also died. I was very angry at God and didn't have much faith at all. And then I realized what I was doing to myself. And then my life took a radical turn at that point. It changed me a lot. Made me far more empathetic than I used to be. My wife died in a hospital bed with me holding her hand. My brother died in a bed in his house with me holding his hand. Everyone deserves a transition like that. Nobody deserves to be under a bridge or in a motel where they've rented for a few days in pain and alone and scared. No one deserves that. I don't care who you are. You just don't. Every human being deserves to have some compassion and some dignity at the end of their lives.
I feel good today. I woke up to another new day. It means a lot to me. And then I just like looking outside and watching the trees, the leaves blow, and I look for little glimpses of life.
The rule is simple. When a resident dies, a bed opens. Jennifer's weeks-long wait for one is finally over.
I just wish there was more resources like this.
You want me to put this in your mouth for you?
If liver failure defines her fate, 10 months of sobriety now define her will.
My drug of choice was alcohol, so I am an alcoholic. I want to be someone that people look up to or look at kind of as a role model, that I didn't give up. I looked forward to that new day and that I didn't give up on life. I had to make a choice between going back to the hotel or going to hospice. What would I choose? And so I chose to go the hospice route.
The hospice route. She's now on her way to the refuge for good.
So we partnered with Rocky Mountain Refuge because we get a lot of people in the Denver area who don't have families, may live on the streets. A lot of hospice is figuring out what somebody wants and what they have and where they want to have it.
Susan Fink thinks about death more often than most of us think about life.
Is it weird to talk about death so much?
Not for me. Not anymore. Not anymore.
Take it nice and smooth for.
She credits the refuge with pushing the conversation about death in a new direction.
There's a huge need for it.
What do people get wrong about hospice?
That the minute you sign up for hospice, you're gonna die. Or it's a place you go and die.
Hospice care can last days, weeks, months.
Yeah, you got a big one coming up.
Where hospitals aim to heal, hospice seeks to comfort.
1, 2, 3.
It's a very honorable thing to be invited into this time of life.
In 2024, 224 people experiencing homelessness in Denver died. Around one death every 36 hours. More than half died either outdoors or in hospitals. Neither of which makes sense to Denver health doctors like Sarah Stella and Kelly Ferrara.
We know that our unhoused population gets sicker earlier. Not having regular housing means that you will age faster.
If you're, say, an average 50-year-old person who's experiencing homelessness, you have needs and actually geriatric conditions like someone who is much, much older, like 70 or 80 years old.
And when a patient is in front of you, you are not going to send them back out to the streets to die. So the answer becomes they'll stay in the hospital. They don't have family who can stop working, stay at home, be in a stable shelter or a stable, environment to take care of them. And so those patients would remain here. And we know that it's not necessarily the perfect environment for that.
They admit talking about cost can feel off, but both believe it still needs to be discussed.
This is what I see every day in my work.
Care inside a hospital can run $1,000 to $2,000 a day. The refuge can provide more personalized care at $200 to $400 a day.
I think this is a space that needs a spotlight.
This really difficult but really important work that's not being done by anyone else.
I think Rocky Mountain Refuge is fulfilling a really necessary need.
When you were camping, did you have a favorite spot that you would go to that
Yeah.
was just right?
Yep, it was behind a Walmart. You go into the tree line and it was a little creek, babbling creek. But it was like an oasis. You go in there and the whole world stopped. Actually kind of beautiful.
Here felt like home, a campsite away from others, an independence that felt comforting until one day that comfort vanished.
And what is the cancer?
Stage 4 cancer. Stage 4 breast cancer.
Renee came here from there. Like all who live here, she cannot say when she will die, but she says for now the uncertainty of life is steadied by the comfort of a room and a bed.
Because I don't have to worry about where I'm going to go. I don't have to worry about it being too hot, too cold, uncomfortable. I don't have to worry about my pain meds. And there's a lot more need out there that needs to be, there's a lot more people in need out there that could benefit from this program that don't even know about it.
Not that this is easy. Little of it is. Mortality feels more pressing when it's yours on the line.
I try not to think of it. I largely don't think about it because then I'd start crying. Mortality is not easy. I'd rather stay immortal. Yep. And grab a tissue.
These really kind of niche specialized places are really essential. My name is Pilar Engel, and I am a postdoctoral researcher at the University of Denver.
In a world where few understand this stuff,
we only spoke to people who had participated in the interviews.
Pilar Engel is an expert in a field few know exists.
I'm going to assume here that your work didn't come to the conclusion that everything's going really great.
No, a lot of those stories were pretty heartbreaking. A lot of them had pretty bad outcomes, despite many of these providers working really hard to try and find the best solution.
Her team's research has discovered something she suspected all along.
I think it's extremely cruel. There's just not really a good place for unhoused folks to go if they need hospice care.
3 things, she says, are necessary for end-of-life care. 1, stable housing. 2, round-the-clock care. 3, resources to pay for the first 2.
If someone's missing any of those, it can already be really tough. And a lot of people that I talk to have never thought about end-of-life and homelessness before. They just haven't thought about it. We know that this is a really big problem and that lots of people are in need of this type of care. When it's provided well, It often prevents people from needing emergency department visits or hospitalizations. It's actually costing us more not to address this well. One of my participants called it an inhumane lack of resources. There is an inhumane lack of resources.
It's tragic. It really is tragic. This will take us over the top.
Weekly, Amy Beck helps feed those in need of the kind of nourishment food alone will never provide.
Oh, good. Branches. Oh, wow.
It's kind of a perfect load, huh?
Yeah, it is. One of the greatest fears that I've seen is that people are afraid to be alone in death. At the end of the day, we are all human, and we are going to all take that path.
So we're going to do 2 boxes of bananas.
As a society, as a community, we have to support each other.
For a woman who knows many by their first names, she has no shortage of first-hand accounts.
I know people that have died, especially this past winter. My friend Garland froze to death on someone's front porch.
That feels like a failure.
That is a huge failure. I really believe that we could do better than that.
She says the work of JP and the refuge represent a good start.
It is the ultimate act of compassion.
It seems like the thing that I'm going to be doing for a while, and somebody needs to be with these folks. They're not dying alone. Someone is with them. So the way he's breathing fewer breaths than a regular person does. So his journey is almost over. Heavenly Father.
Many years after the deaths of his wife and brother, he considers this a privilege.
I pray that you would be with him. Help him in transition.
Is it hard to see this?
We're not supposed to get attached to people, but it's really hard not to. And James was particularly a nice person, and it's hard not to get attached to people.
For many months, we dipped in and out of a place few know, a place designed to confront a problem few consider. Here, we found a story often left untold, simply because telling it leads to fear and unease. And yet that unease is the very thing that connects us, a quiet admission of the mortality that binds us.
There had to be someplace, there had to be someone that could help.
For that reason, those closest to the refuge welcome the conversation.
You've been working in a warehouse for a while.
To die alone, they say, feels wrong.
Are you able to work at all anymore?
No.
If only because the story of one's life
You're a nice person.
lives longer when someone remains willing to tell it.
My oldest son's wedding day. My youngest son surprised his brother by flying in from Hawaii on his wedding day. They hadn't seen each other in 4 years. But I'll always treasure this photo and this memory. Having my son here gave me a new attitude, I guess. It really means a lot to me to have him and his wife here. Yeah. The family's huge. Each new day is, filled with another smile or to be able to say I love you. It's nice just being outside and breathe the fresh air.
Yeah.
No, my kids are my life right now. My kids and my grandbaby that's on the way.
Within life's fits and life starts,
Hello. Hello. We went for a full circle.
this place offered Jennifer a chance to pause, reflect, and spend her final days in the refuge.
It's just hard saying goodbye.
One of those rare places that truly lives up to its name.
You're gonna make me cry.
You take care of that baby, Lawson.
We will. He might not be kicking, but you can feel the belly, if that's okay.
Yeah, sure. A little small, but that's okay.
My friend's in there.
Spud.
Spud.
Yep. He's hanging out.
I know it's something that she doesn't like people doing, is touching her belly, and so it was an honor to be able to, you know, touch it. Give me my little wishes.
We'll be okay, I promise. Okay. You just look over us. Okay?
I'm not leaving that quick.
Okay.
I gotta stay.
Alright. I love you.
Love you. Take care of that baby for me.
Lord of mercy, hear our prayer. May our brother Jose, whom you called your Son on earth, enter the kingdom of peace and light, where your saints live in glory. We ask this through our Lord Jesus Christ, your Son, who lives and reigns